Welcome to This Week in Golf 2026 edition. First show of the year, and golf is already underway. It's been underway for a few weeks. Things are rocking and rolling. We just finished up the tournament at Torrey. The week before that was the tournament in Palm Springs. So golf is in full effect. We'll cover LIV, PGA Tour, just about everything. And just kicking off, we are off to a fast start. The American Express, Scottie Scheffler won it. This last week, Justin Rose won the event at Torrey. So we already have two big names winning tournaments. Scheffler comes out, basically runs away with the tournament, dominates. And then next week, this last week, Justin Rose came out and he dominated at Torrey Pines. A really dominant performance, quite honestly, for a course that I play all the time that usually eats up the pros. Pretty much ate up everybody else, or at least the scores reflected that, but he was like 23 under par. He sets the tournament record for being under par. So really things are off to a quick start. The two top names. Rose is now the number 3 ranked player in the world. Scottie Scheffler's number 1. I guess Rory's probably number 2. So that's good for golf. And this week LIV kicks off. They'll be in Riyadh playing under the lights. I know what you're thinking, no one's going to watch, and you're right. Probably no one is going to watch, and the Golf Channel won't cover it, so you won't even know who won unless you watch this podcast next week when we talk about that. But things are kicking off quick, and we'll get into the news about that as well. But as for Torrey, again, Torrey and even the tournament in Palm Springs, because of daylight savings and they want to run a full field event, they have to use 2 courses. So at Torrey, for instance, they use the north and the south course. Justin Rose shoots 10 under on the south course, and then on the north course, he shoots 10 under par, the easier course. And then on the south course, over a 3-day period of time, he shoots 13 under. So he roughly shoots like 4 under a day, which for the south course is really impressive. And I guess if you took out the north course and put another day of the south course, he still probably would have shot 15 or 16 under, which still would have been a course record, or a tournament record rather. So very impressive stuff. And, didn't really make the tournament too exciting because he just dominated so much. But I mean, really impressive performance as far as just the number of fairways he hit, because that course, the way they make the pros look average is they grow up the rough super high and the fairways are super thin. So he was just hitting fairways all day long. He was sticking pins and then making putts as well. And then the final thing I'll say about Rose is, he's 45 years old and he's been playing great golf. He played great last year. He had the runner-up finish to Rory last year. In sudden death, he lost to Rory at the Masters, but he's right there. So I think it could be we're off to a good start as far as I think he could have a really great year this year, and that would be exciting to see him go kind of head to head with Scheffler. I think he's a guy that could potentially not challenge Scheffler, but could make a run for player of the year. And it'll be exciting to see how the year plays out. And I think for now, he's got to be a favorite to win the Masters. He's off to a quick start, played good last year. So keep that in mind when we get closer to the Masters. As for LIV, PGA, whatever, are we still calling it drama? It's not really drama at this point, but the off season for LIV and the PGA Tour, if you were to pick a winner at this point, you would say the PGA Tour won. They have brought Brooks Koepka has come back to the PGA Tour. They essentially let him back in. He has to pay a fine of $5 million to a charity. So nice write-off for him. So he goes over to LIV, he makes a bunch of money, and now he comes back to the PGA Tour. He doesn't get into the signature event, so he has to basically play his way into a signature event. So that's why he was playing at Torrey last week, and then he'll play at the Waste Management this week. So again, if he wins a tournament, he's automatically in, and there's other ways he can get in. I think it's the top 54 guys get in, but he is not in that yet. I'm not looking at his ranking right now. Anyways, it was interesting on the broadcast because he shot, I think he got last place of those who made the cut. He wasn't quite last, but he was one of the guys. He was only 2 under, and the winners were Rose was 23 under, and then the rest of the kind of the second, third, and top 10 were all around like 14, 15 under par. So he's like 2 under par, but they were showing him on TV all day. So they're really pimping him hard, and he does draw the eyeballs. So that's why they were showing him. But usually in a tournament, when Brooks Koepka is 2 under par and the rest of the field is 15 under par, they're not showing a guy that's 2 under par. The other defector, or I don't know what you call it, LIV defector or back to the PGA Tour, is Patrick Reed. Everybody loves to hate Patrick Reed. I love Patrick Reed because you hate him. That's why I like him. I like him because everybody else hates him. Let's see some bad guys win more often. So he's good for business too because he's a polarizing figure. In the WWE and pro wrestling, you need bad guys, and he fills that well, and he actually embraces it. And he's a great player. The other thing about Reed is he is suspended, or I guess he's part of the PGA Tour, but he can't play in events until August. But they are allowing him to play in the DP World Tour. So he'll be playing over there, and he'll probably get enough ranking points to be, he'll probably be top 50 when he actually joins the tour based on, just the way he's playing and what kind of a player he is. And he gets to play in the majors anyway. So he'll be in all the majors. And if he does well, he gets OWGR. So the one world ranking, golf ranking system, that's the point system. So that's the other news. The other news is the PGA Tour, or the board, or the body of whatever, the world golf ranking system they're now going to allow LIV to have points. So the way it's going to work is LIV went to a 72-hole format. So they were 54. Now they're going to 72. So they'll play the full 4 days. And they also have a play-in and a relegation and promotion. You can get relegated out of LIV now. So with that, the world ranking system is going to give them points. And through that point system, these guys can qualify for majors or whatever they're going to qualify for. But the thing about it is that only the top 10 players in a LIV event will get points. So if you're in the top 10, you get points. And if you're outside the top 10, you don't get points. So a guy like Rahm, who was in the top 10 all last season, will get points for that. And I guess he'll be ranked. He's in majors too. But like guys like Joaquin Niemann and stuff like that. So if you win an event, you'll get points. So you could potentially qualify for majors. So that's what's going on with that. LIV did sign some players. They just signed a bunch of younger guys that nobody knows about. So maybe these guys will start winning events and get big. But, they're severely handicapped just simply because nobody covers them. You can say what you will about they're not on television or nobody knows where they are on television, which is what all the golf pundits that are on the Golf Channel actually say. But what they never bother to do is actually show a LIV event and who won the event and the highlights of the event. ESPN doesn't show it. The Golf Channel doesn't show it. Nobody shows it. So until that happens, there's not going to be enough eyeballs on it. And that's kind of the final, I guess you could say, piece of, what why the PGA Tour still has a lead in that game, because simply they have coverage in the United States and LIV does not have any coverage whatsoever. Now, the final piece would obviously be Bryson DeChambeau, and he is currently not under a contract, or he's negotiating a contract. I think his contract ends at the end of this year. So he is a major piece as well. Could he come back? Maybe. I don't think he will come back simply because of what he's doing on YouTube. And the reason I say that is because he has full control over his name, image, and likeness, which if he goes back to the PGA Tour, they're not going to allow him to be making all these videos on YouTube and posting stuff. PGA Tour is a closed shop. They're like the UFC. They basically, the fighters in the UFC, the golfers in the PGA Tour, although they are independent contractors, they have rules and regulations about what content they can produce, what events they can go to, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where things stand with that. So anyways, we'll go into the season. Again, LIV they're in Riyadh this week, and then they're in, I don't know, Singapore or wherever. They're not even in the United States until March, maybe April. So again, it's a world tour. Just think of LIV as a world tour. Yeah, they're losing money, but so's the PGA Tour. Everybody's losing money, so they have deep pockets over there. So it's going to continue. It's going to go on. Maybe it'll be less relevant. Maybe at some point it'll be more relevant. But for the moment, we're just where we're at. And where we are at is the Waste Management Open is happening this weekend in Phoenix, or the Wasted Management. Brooks is playing, Scheffler's playing, so there are big names playing out there. So should be a great event out in Phoenix and the Super Bowl. And we'll talk to you next week on This Week in Golf. Hey, it's Jeremy Callahan, and thanks for listening to This Week in Golf. Make sure and hit subscribe so you can get all the latest news and analysis from Golf BPM.